and welcome back to the Apex Weekly Wrap for the week of September the 11th. I'm Stephanie Taylor from Apex Media.
And I'm Seth Miller from PaxX.Aero.
So we've taken a 2-week break and lots has happened while we've been away. And one of the biggest changes we've seen is the sudden dropping of change fees on domestic flights across a swathe of US airlines. So American, Delta, United and Alaska all made the announcement within a few days of each other. And others like Frontier and Hawaiian have followed suit with a temporary drop to change fees until a date in the near future. So Seth, what are your thoughts on this? Why was it such a widespread move in the US, and why hasn't it followed elsewhere around the world?
Yeah, so I think why was it such a big deal in the US in general is easy to answer, and that's the money. This is hundreds of millions of dollars in change fees typically would be brought in by these airlines each year, and now they're going to get none of that. Now, given that since February or March-ish of this year, they haven't been getting any of it anyways, and the numbers of total travelers are down and all those other things, it's easy to see how this no longer was something really to consider or compare to. So it's easy for the airlines to decide, you know what, this no longer made sense as a way to segment our customers, as a way to try to convince business customers to buy different types of tickets, more expensive, with more flexibility in them. And so in that context, I can see it being a smart change from the airline's perspective in terms of sort of trying to figure out how to better address what their different customer markets are and segmenting the groups. It also has always sort of been seen as a punitive kind of thing, and the airlines have basic economy for that now. There's a version, the change fee waiver does not apply to basic economy in these new policies, and so this is sort of a way that the airlines can still have that sort of hate-selling or punitive product out there, but the other products get to be a little nicer. As for the rest of the world, it's a lot of money, and they seem to still want it. So I guess those other airlines aren't ready quite to give that up.
Definitely, yeah. So let's pivot away from change fees now and onto in-flight entertainment. So this week, Apex member Global Eagle announced that passengers no longer need to download an app when they fly with Southwest Airlines and they want to access the IFE content on their personal devices. And I think this news really complements everything that we've been hearing about biometrics in the airport, so not having to get your passport and your boarding pass out over and over again. And this year we've been kind of focusing on it in terms of the hygiene perspective, but actually, I think it's all about removing barriers to entry too, and having a really kind of seamless journey throughout the air travel journey. And it's great to see this happening both on the ground and in the air.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the seamless travel experience. The idea of, especially you get on board and you're already in the air and all of a sudden you find out, oh, crud, I need this specialized app to watch the movie that I really was going to keep me distracted for the next couple hours. Was never a good experience. And a couple other vendors sort of came up with ways around that with the satellite connection, but it just was never really a good experience. And so being able to get rid of that to make it truly seamless, you just pop the URL into your device and the video starts to play. Really nice shift, really nice benefit. It all does come back to DRM, digital rights management and licensing, and making sure that that content is protected, making sure that, even though it's playing on your regular device in a regular browser, being able to copy it or save it or bootleg these videos and TV shows and whatnot isn't really possible. So, that's a digital sort of evolution situation, and it's the Common Media Application Format, or CMAF, is the platform or standard that Global Eagle's now encoding these video content in, and that's driving the solution that lets them make this work for Southwest Airlines and presumably all of their other airtime streaming media customers going forward.
Absolutely. And you said that, it's something that people have been working on for a while, and they're not the first to have kind of created it or come out with it. So we covered another Apex member, Cast Labs, announced the development of an Atlas playback feature that they created together with Lufthansa Systems, and that was in September 2019. So, it is something that's becoming more widespread. And I think, it's the same with the biometrics that we were talking about a bit earlier. We've seen such an uptake in new technology and innovation this year. It's really sped up that whole process. So it totally makes sense now that people are just charging forward with this stuff. And Southwest are typically fairly innovative with their IFEC offering. So I'm not surprised that they're one of the first ones out ahead with this.
Yeah, and speaking of charging ahead with sort of this evolution in the IFAC and digital media content world, early on in the weekly wrap sessions, we talked a lot about in-flight digital magazines and whether the print magazine would stay or if everything was shifting to digital. And British Airways has announced that its High Life magazine is going all digital after 47 years. So they were unconvinced by the idea that maybe they should stay in the print world. Although it does still seem to be something that a number of airlines are doing. And it's not just that they're taking their magazine and sort of putting it in an e-reader or something like that. They're really exchanging it into a full digital platform, which I'm excited to see how that turns out.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. So BA said in its release that each monthly issue is going to have audio stories, photo experiences, and live panels. So it's going to be an online media platform, and maybe more importantly, BA said it's going to use it to update passengers if there are any changes to the passenger experience in real time, which is certainly handy when everything is so uncertain with travel at the moment. And personally, I think I will miss the analog product, certainly on short haul flights when I don't kind of plan my entertainment rigorously, because I know that I'm not going to be on there for very long. I did like to flick through a magazine, but typically I think in-flight magazines across the board have a really high quality of editorial content, so I'm sure that their millions of customers will continue to enjoy that moving forward.
Yeah, and for me, one of the big questions I still have about this is the money. Right, producing the magazine costs money. Producing the content, they're still going to have to pay people to be doing that. And everything we've seen thus far has suggested that the print advertising somehow is still managing to outdraw the digital version of it, even with the ability to target people and put digital ads, more nuanced and better rates on them. So how that evolves, maybe with the more digital sort of technologies and content and things like that, it'll evolve with, the audio stories and stuff like that. But it'll be real interesting to see how that plays out over time. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to.
Definitely.
And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest for this week's episode. We've got Steve Newell, who is the Chief Commercial Officer for NXTCOMM, and we're really excited to find out a bit more about what they're doing in the in-flight connectivity antenna world. So, hi, Steve. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. Great to be here on your show. Yeah, NXTCOMM was founded a few years ago and emerged from secrecy in July, announcing that we would bring AeroMax to the aviation market. The founders saw that current solutions were focused on geostationary satellites, but that the future was a world of multiple orbits. That future will shift the antenna market to thin antennas that can scan the sky and track these new satellites, giving us all fantastic bandwidths in the air. Together with the Georgia Tech Research Institute, we are partnered to commercialize the fragmented aperture technology. Aviation isn't a natural starting point, but for us it's what we do, and for some of us it's all we've ever done. NXTCOMM executive team lives and breathes aviation. We saw what went wrong with the first batch of providers and are looking to bring a range of benefits that the others didn't have or didn't see. AeroMax is initially KAU band, with KA close behind. Suffice to say, we are working hard to bring a range of products to the aerospace and defense markets.
And what about you, Steve? What's your background and what are you most looking forward to about working with NXTCOMM?
Yeah, when I said for some of us this is all that we've ever done, well, that applies to me. After my first career as a submarine officer in the U.S. Navy, I found my way into aviation, specifically satellite communication on aircraft. The first stop being in '97 at Rakel as a product manager. That led to area and building the first systems to deliver live TV to airlines globally, followed by a move into sales at EMS Satcom. At the time, EMS was red hot, and the airborne internet terminals sold wildly into military aircraft and business jets. I then teamed up with a former EMS colleague, moved to Canada, and helped him sell True North Avionics to Satcom Direct. Most recently, I spent some time with Flight working on data analytics and Iridium solutions for airlines. All this to say that the market is something that I enjoy, and being back with former EMS colleagues is a real treat. NXTCOMM is exciting because it's in the right place at the right time with technologies others don't have, with a clear view towards the market. Everyone, and I literally mean everyone, is in need of an electronically steered array to eventually replace their current equipment. Last week, I was talking to a buddy, and he offered up an interesting fact about satellite investments. Over the past 5 years, $15 billion was spent on new satellites to provide roughly 1 terabyte per second of capacity. In the next 5 years, another $14 billion will be spent, but this time it will deliver 33 terabytes per second of capacity. Same amount spent, 33 times more benefit, which means that if you have the right electronically steered array, you will have the ability to deliver on that investment in a way that current technology simply cannot. And for me, that's super exciting. We're at the cutting edge of a technology that all the operators and service providers will need to make their networks mobile. And given that we live in a world where mobility is highly valued, it paints a very bright picture for NXTCOMM.
How would you say that the NXTCOMM AeroMax flat panel antenna is different from the other players in the market right now?
AeroMax's innovation lies in 3 areas, the first being the fragmented aperture. This is the technology that we acquired from the Georgia Tech Research Institute, and it gives NXTCOMM unparalleled efficiency that is inherently wideband. The second item is that we build up antennas from standard size modules. These modules form the product set that we can transform into the right application. In the case of aircraft antennas, like AeroMax, we can tailor the number of panels to best align to the customer needs, like more receive capacity for airlines to stream movies to passengers, and more transmit capacity for airlines to stream live video to the Pentagon. These modules allow us to easily conform to AirRing standards and then offer retrofit solutions for airlines whose industry service providers may be in need of an upgrade. The last difference is the ability to operate with LEOs, MEOs, and GEOs all at the same time.
And finally, what's the company's roadmap from now to announcing a launch customer for AeroMax? When can we be expecting to hear more news from you?
We have a number of technology demonstrations along our path towards productization, the first of which happens in October to prove out the arrays themselves. Georgia Tech hadn't previously built panels in the K frequencies, and we needed to prove the subarray performance before we built arrays. In our lingo, subarrays are the smallest element of construction, being roughly 25 by 25 centimeters in size. We then take 4 subarrays and make that into an array, which is roughly 50 by 50 centimeters. The array is a production item, so we will test the first subarrays in October, iterate, build more, then construct arrays for over-the-air testing in January. We have a number of potential partners to support us and whom are eager to see those results. In March, we have a date set with the U.S. Army to show off our technology, and we'll endeavor to flying product by the end of 21. From my vantage point, it's all moving really fast, and we will undoubtedly make many announcements to highlight those achievements. Given the economics and potential of new networks, flying into technologies that can't handle the future would be a shame. I see it as the same as I see electric cars: super clean, efficient, software updates, self-driving. It's the future. The same is true for electronically steered antennas. They're the future.
Thanks so much for joining us, Steve. I'm always excited about the flat panel world and this new generation, new era of in-flight connectivity solutions. Obviously, this is something that's been talked about for a long time. Several years now, we've been promised it's coming soon, and I really, really hope that one of these years that's true. I'm desperate to see it actually take off in flight. So it's coming, I know. I'm always just impatient about it. So maybe NXTCOMM is going to be the one that makes it happen.
Exactly. We are going to be following it really closely, all of us. And now it's on to our final thought of the day, which comes in the form of a funky flight-themed pop-up cafe at Thai Airways headquarters in Bangkok, which is serving up in-flight meals for people who miss flying and maybe plain food too.
Yeah, like you said, it's cute. It's a way for the catering office to sort of keep busy and have something to do with the food that they're cooking. It's a way to keep passengers, in having the airline in mind. It's cheapish meals. It's $2 to $5 for a plate for whatever the meal happens to be, and it's the stuff that they typically served on the airplane. I think I saw like a pasta carbonara that was a typical long haul entree in economy class and things like that. So, and some Asian themed food as well. It's a good blend of the typical menus. They're You enter by walking up a set of air stairs through into the cafe area that's filled out with old airline seats. They took a bunch of old airline tires, painted them bright colors, flipped them on their side, and made them tables. It's very much an aviation pop-up experience, and, I like that idea about it. I'm not in Bangkok and won't be anytime soon, so I don't get to go. But hopefully some of our listeners and watchers get to have that experience.
I hope so too. I think it looks really cool. But you've got to get in there early. I think it's only open in the morning until 2 p.m. So, it will satisfy your breakfast, brunch and lunch cravings. And that's about all the time we have today for you folks. So it's great to be back. We're looking forward to seeing you at the same time next week. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the Apex YouTube channel for more aviation related content. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.